Welcome back to Stauffer Garage, guys. Today's detail is extra special because not only is it a subscriber vehicle once again, it is also a 2008 Saturn Vue that's going to get the interior and exterior completely deep cleaned, and boy does it need it. This car is a horse farm car, so they used it for traveling their kids to the farm where they ride horses, so there's feed and other goodies and dirt in this car that needs to be cleaned up. But the surprise that I found in the trunk is gonna be special. So I want you guys to try to comment and guess below, what did I find in the trunk that makes this one extra special? It's kind of one of those things that if you've seen my videos in the past, it's kind of been a trend of things that I've found in the cars that are just downright disgusting. But if you guys are new, hit the subscribe button down below, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of these disaster details that I have coming out. Give it a thumbs up as well, and let's go ahead and get started. So one other thing that I forgot to mention in the intro was that the fact that the owners mentioned to me that not only was this car used for their horse farm, but they actually literally used it to haul around their mini horse back and forth to shows and wherever they were going with it, which honestly, mini horses are just awesome in general. But I'm excited for you guys to see this detailing transformation because not only am I trying out a few new things, but I'm also doing the exterior of the car, which you guys are always asking for me to do. So the inside and the outside of this one is gonna be completely transformed. And with that being said, we're gonna start off by spraying down the car with water from our pressure washer, and you can do this with a hose too. But the main purpose of initial spray with pressure is to get any of the larger, anything loose on the surface, getting that off the paint before we get into the washing process. It also helps with any of that stuff that is actually caked on to start getting soaked up, so that way when you spray it off again or you use your mitt to wash it off, it comes off a lot more easily. It's also good when you're rinsing off your car to get inside the wheel wells, to get underneath the car as much as possible. But the main purpose is to get any of that caked on dirt. You're trying to get off any salt or anything on there that might cause your car to start degrading over time. Now for the initial wash phase, I know that some people might not have a foam cannon, but if you do, I like to use one just because it gives you that extra saturation phase. It looks cool, and for this one I'm trying out a new type of soap from Adams. I've never used it before, but I wanted to give it a shot over the Chemical Guys melon shampoo that I typically use. And it works out pretty well, and it smells pretty good too. What I like to do is while the car is soaking in this shampoo concoction is I like to then go and clean the wheels. And for this, I'm using an Eagle One all-purpose type cleaner. This one is a really good product to one, spray on the wheels to get any brake dust that is kind of caked on and get that grime loose, but also for spraying and cleaning off the face of the tires. And when I clean the wheels, I have a specific bucket that I use for this, and the reason why is because wheels are always going to be the dirtiest thing on your car. After all of that process, I spray down the wheel and the tire, get any of that grime and dirt off, and then I follow up with an Iron X remover, which if there is any leftover caked on brake dust or any iron that is on the surface of the wheel that you can't get off, this is like the final step that helps get that removed. Now to get to washing the car, I like to use the 2-bucket method, which I've talked about in previous videos, but to quickly cover what the 2-bucket method is you essentially have 2 buckets, one with clean wash water and one with your wash water soap. And the reason why you want to do that is so that way when you wash a panel with your wash mitt and you go to your water bucket, you're actually trying to rinse off any of the dirt that's caked in there and having it drip down to the bottom of that bucket before you bring it back into your clean soapy water. So that way you don't bring dirt from each panel to panel and induce additional scratching. Now the next process that we're going to do is decontaminating the paint, and to do that we're using a clay bar and then a bottle of soapy water. All you're going to be doing with the clay bar is flatten out a small piece, and the main purpose is you're trying to lightly drag it across the surface to catch any imperfections or dirt that catches onto it. But you won't see any of the dirt with your naked eye until you use a clay bar to remove it from your paint, and honestly, the amount of dirt that you remove with a clay bar will blow your mind.
The main reason for doing this is you're trying to remove any particles on the surface, so that way when you go to your polishing stage, or in this case we're going to be applying a spray-on coating, by doing this step first, you remove the possibility of having additional scratching, but also give the surface a nicer, cleaner contact surface for it to bond to. One word of caution is when you clay bar your car, you're going to do one panel at a time, fold it over and knead it back in, so you're kind of containing that dirt within a patch of the clay, so that way you have a clean surfaced clay additional panels. Now when it comes to the drying stage, I have this very large, heavy weighted microfiber towel that I'm honestly excited that I will be carrying on Fox Clean here very soon, so be on the lookout for that. But my favorite thing about it is so heavily weighted that when you drape it over a panel, it'll actually contour itself to the different curves. So when you drag it across it, you'll get everything dry in one pass, and I can get a whole entire car like this one completely dry with just one towel. Now to protect the paint and give it that glossy, shiny look, but also give it that beaded finish that you get whenever the car gets wet, I'm using the Turtle Wax Hybrid Ceramic Spray Coating. So I've been really happy with this product, and it goes on super easily. And for this panel, I show you guys the difference between a non-coated panel and a panel that has this turtle wax spray, which any wax will do this in general, but the difference when it comes to how much water gets beaded off the surface, when you go to wash your car the next time, one, dirt won't stick to it as easily, and also your drying process is that much faster. Now that the outside's done, we're going to roll it into the garage and get started with the inside. And the first thing obviously is to get all of the floor mats, all of the seats out of it, typical Stauffer garage fashion. And this gives you just so much more access to underneath the seats, which you guys can see here how much debris is hiding underneath those seats that we would have never been able to get to. I think this is one of those situations where when you remove that rear bench seat, this is where you find a ton of treasures that you honestly never would have expected to find. And I think that by some of the debris, I think we might have a little friend that might be living in this car. Now, in general, I don't expect everybody to remove their seats when they do a detail. This is one of those situations where you only hopefully have to do this every couple years, if at all. And if you have kids or if you have a lot of dirt in your car, I just recommend doing it once, get it all clean, and then just take better care of making sure you don't drop anything back there. And if you do, just pick it up, clean it up, and that way you don't have to worry about it kind of getting to a point where it turns into a situation that you have to do this more frequently. Now, when it came to the trunk and I took off this floorboard, which had a ton of hay and horse feed on it, I found a treasure that is near and dear to my heart. If you guys have seen my previous videos, I think mice just like me a lot because I found a mouse nest and I found quite a bit of the actual rear tire cover being chewed apart, and I think the mouse was actually using it for a nest as well. But the biggest surprise was that I am sad to say our little friend did not make it. But getting all this out of the car, and cleaning it is definitely a necessary thing to do because these guys carry diseases. Now, because of the times that we're in, but also in general, even if you're mowing your lawn or working your garage, sweeping or doing anything, if there's dust or any debris that you feel like you know for a fact is not going to be good to breathe in, I highly recommend wearing glasses and some sort of respirator mask or anything like that. This one in particular, you guys have seen me wear these before. Just something to keep dust from getting into your lungs is always something I recommend, especially if you're working in a dusty environment. Now I'm going to start by vacuuming the inside of the trunk and any of the little cubby areas within the trunk, but then we're going to move to actually outside the car, getting out that spare tire cover vacuum, getting the cover and also all the floor mats vacuumed before we get into shampooing all the carpets. I will say that this rear tunk carpet is probably one of the most pain in the butt carpets I've worked on. Majority of these are super thin, there's no padding on the back, and they just collect dirt and it does not want to release from the fibers for the life of me. I think this is a newer trend with newer vehicles, but if you guys have one of these carpets, let me know in the comments below, because if you get anything in them, it is literally like you need to get tweezers to pick every little piece out because they are a super big pain in the butt. For the inside of the car, make sure you pick up all of the larger stuff so that way you don't have to worry about it getting clogged in your shop vac, because honestly that is one of the worst things you have to do, is to try to unclog a shop vac hose and then go ahead and vacuum up the rest of the interior. Now this car didn't have a ton of hair on it, but honestly using the lily brush exposes a lot more hair than you ever expect. And you'll see here later on in the next couple clips, I show you the actual size of the ball of hair that I removed from the carpet with this one little tool. So if you guys want to pick up a lily brush, they're great for any sort of pet hair for your car, for your upholstery inside your house. And if you're interested, definitely head over to foxclean.com and check it out. I'll have a link in the description box below. Now with the car completely vacuumed out, we're gonna move to actually extracting the floor mats, which these floor mats, I'm really excited to show you guys the end result because I'm trying out 2 new products, and these ones are more professional grade carpet cleaning type of products. And it comes in a powdered form. You gotta mix it up with water. It's a pre-treatment, and then you actually have a rinse treatment as well. And I've never been able to do a single pass with my extractor and see this sort of result. So I am super pumped to see when I get some really dirty floor mats, how well they turn out, because these ones turned out insane. And if you're wondering, my process for cleaning any sort of carpet whatsoever or cloth seats is I like to spray on my solution, let it soak in for 3 to 4 minutes, and then I have my drill brush that I use to agitate the surface to get any of that caked in dirt or any of that grime that's embedded in the fibers loose before I then follow up with my extractor. And in this case, like I said, I actually have a post-treatment that's in my hot water, that's in my extractor, that helps neutralize the pH. That is one thing that I'm definitely trying to become more educated with, is learning more of the science behind cleaning carpet, because I think that there's a lot of details that aren't really public about it and how to actually do it better. So that is one thing that I'm trying to learn, so that way I can share with you guys more of those details so you guys can be better at cleaning your carpets, whether it's inside your car or inside your house. I think for me, when it came to cleaning the floor mats, the most exciting part was seeing the red and the white on the actual logo of the Vue showing up so clearly, which honestly made me so pumped to see how well it turned out. Now for the seats, I'm using an all-purpose cleaner to spray down the leather, but also the Alcantara in the middle, and then I'm using either my drill brush or my bristle brush to agitate the surface to get any of that dirt or grime loose before I wipe it up with a microfiber towel. Because these seats weren't super dirty, there was not a need for actually using the extractor on the Alcantara, and in general, usually just using a microfiber towel wipes away pretty much all of the dirt for that sort of fiber. Unless you have a lot of embedded dirt, I just recommend trying to use a wipe down method first before going to more of an extreme measure. Once the seats are cleaned, I'm just using a leather conditioner and also protectant that just wipes onto the surface, and then you wipe it clean with a new microfiber towel. With the seats all done, it is now time to start wiping down and cleaning all of the interior panels, and for that I'm just using Chemical Guys All Cleans diluted 10:1 and a bristle brush for majority of these surfaces, and wiping down with a clean microfiber towel before I follow up with my Chemical Guys Silk Shine top coat to add a UV protectant to the surface. And you guys might have noticed I actually try to follow the correct method that I usually tell you guys that you should follow, is start from the top and work your way down, which is why I did the floor mats outside the car, cleaned all of the upper panels down to the lower panels, and then we're going to be doing the carpet extraction of the floors. Now for the driver's side, the actual dead pedal area that you can see here that's brown, it was not like the dirt couldn't come out, but honestly it was kind of to the point where the dye had been kind of removed from the surface based on salt and everything else that kind of gets under the fiber. So in this case, a situation like that, this is where using a carpet dye would come into play, where you can kind of tape the area off after it's cleaned and dried off, and then spraying with a dye will bring it back to life. Now when it comes to cleaning out door panels and then the speaker grills in general, using a bristle brush to get into those tiny little holes is very, very helpful as well. But with my air compressor not working at the moment, I would have used that instead to spray it, which would have blown it all out very, very quickly. But because it wasn't available, I just used my bristle brush to kind of poke into the surface to get any of the dirt out of the speaker grill and used it to clean the rest of the surface of the door panel. And now that everything's cleaned, it's time to reassemble the vehicle and show you guys the aftershots and the customer's reaction.
All right, so that wraps up today's detail. Honestly, this was one of the ones that go down in the record books for one, not only the amount of dirt on the outside and the inside, but also the treasure that I found in the back trunk. I was not expecting to find both of those things, especially in this car, because it is actually fairly new. How that little guy got in there is a question for anyone, I don't know. But anyways, if you guys like this detail, thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any new videos. And let's go ahead and see the owner's reaction to this disaster detail transformation.
Oh my gosh. This is nicer than when I got it. The floor mats are gray. I thought they were black. Well, and Charlie was really proud that we had the right floor mats for the Redline Vue too, because apparently they're hard to get. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah, they came out great.
Oh, wow.
It is amazing. Like, I can't believe it. Honestly, it doesn't look like the same car.
Well, thank you guys for letting me detail it.